Hey everybody, welcome to another tabletop review, and we are going to be taking a look at a pretty interesting knife today. This is the Quiet Carry Current. This is the stone-washed version of the knife. It's pretty interesting knife. It's made out of LC200N, and that was really kind of the draw to the knife for me. I wanted a small kitchen knife that I could use for processing stuff for meals, and I've been having lots of problems with my knives rusting. I don't know if it's something that I'm just hard on knives. I guess I am kind of hard on kitchen knives. And, I rinse them off repeatedly, and I, kind of toss them in the sink and sometimes forget about them and stuff like that. So I guess in a way I'm really rough on my knives. So I decided to fork over the cache for this little beauty right here. And, I got it and pulled it out of the box and, was immediately pretty impressed with it. I didn't really want the stonewash version of the knife, but I went ahead and got it because that's all they had. That's all they had in stock. So I went ahead and got it, and I was happy to see that the stonewash is very smooth. It's not like some of the stonewash blades that I've had in the past where this is like a rough finish. This is actually very smooth finish. I like the way they do the stone washing. I really liked that. So when I first pulled this out of the box, it's laying in the box, similar like this. And I was like, wow, I was pretty impressed when I first saw it. And I took it out of the box and I flipped it over, and there was a spot or a blemish on one of the scales. But I'm happy to report that after using the knife and washing it several times after using it for cooking and stuff like that, that spot, I don't see it anymore. I mean, I didn't pay attention to if it was disappearing or whatever, but, washing the handle, multiple times, and I guess that spot was just a rub mark or something of that nature, but it didn't look that way when I first pulled it out of the box. So I was a little disappointed in that. The other thing that I was slightly disappointed, the other thing I was slightly disappointed when I pulled it out of the box is that the knife wasn't very sharp. It was sharp back here in the back part of the blade, throughout the whole belly, but then the tip was not very sharp. So I was a little surprised by that. The grind on the edge is even. There's no problem there. I like how thin it is. It's a really high flat grind, and it gets, there's enough time to get really thin right here behind the edge. So it's a really good slicer. But all I did was to get the blade back to, acceptable sharpness for a knife like this, is I just ran it a couple of times over a ceramic rod, and then I stropped it a couple of times and got it razor sharp again. But just a little disappointing out of the box at the how sharp it was. There's a little jimping right here where your finger rests, and a little jimping back here. I like that. That feels really good. There's jimping on the top of the spine, which I really like. Swedge right here looks really good. I mean, that's basically what that amounts to, being so high up on the blade, is that we've got a really high swedge, just basically for looks. I have used and abused this knife as far as cooking goes. I've used this like 100% of the use that it's got has been in the kitchen. And this knife was not provided to me by Quiet Carry or anything like that. So this is how you can expect to get one. You know, I've always wondered, you know, if some of those knives that are sent to YouTube reviewers are some of the very best, you know, hand-picked knives that you can expect to get. And I think they are. And there was nothing wrong with this one. I was really happy with it. I've been really happy with the performance of the knife. It's been holding an edge like I would expect, like my other LC200N knives. And basically, I've gone to 100% of all my kitchen knives are all LC200N or 20 CV or M390, you know, all, you know, high-end knives I use in my kitchen now. And it's just makes it so much more fun to cook, just so much better to cook. I mean, the difference between, you know, a high-end knife and a you know, something you buy at Walmart is just night and day. One of the small gripes that I might level at this knife is that this hand guard right here behind the sharpening choil right here, I don't know if you guys can see that, but right where my finger's at, this finger guard right here is higher than the edge, and I wished it wasn't. I don't know if that's just me, but you know, when I'm cutting, you know, say I'm cutting, you know, this always hits my cutting board before the edge of my knife comes all the way down. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if you can kind of make out what I'm saying, but as you rock the knife down to cut something, this is hitting the cutting board before the blade comes, you know, fully flush with the cutting board. That's, you know, kind of something I wished it wasn't there. Also, when I'm cutting bread with this knife, yes, I even cut. It's actually more of a muffin, like an English muffin. My English muffins are not, you know, cut when I buy them. I have to slice them open myself. This hangs up, you know, all the time while I'm cutting my muffin. That sounded funny, but I would like to get rid of this little hump right here. I have found an actual use that I'm not appreciating this much at all. This little hump right here, easy to get rid of. I can just knock that right off probably. I just haven't done it. I think, you know, I could take my work sharp, you know, tool grinder and probably just grind that down ever so slightly, you know, just get rid of that. And I think that I would be a lot happier with that not being there. But other than that, the handle feels real good. The grip feels real good. I mean, I've used this to make green chili. Green chili normally takes me about 4 hours to make, and it's a lot of cutting. There's a lot of meat to cut, and I use this to cut the pork roast. And you know, at no time was my hand getting tired or anything like that. It was doing a really fantastic job. I do plan to take this edge down a little bit. You know, take the angle down a little bit further than this. I would say, I'm not positive because I haven't measured it, but this feels like this could be somewhere around 20 degrees or something like that. I'm going to take that down even steeper when I sharpen this knife. I'll probably do that today. As a matter of fact, I'll probably go ahead and just take that down to probably, you know, 17, 18 degrees, somewhere in that area, and take the entire edge down. As far as size goes, when this came and I opened it up, I was kind of surprised at how small it is. I mean, I knew it was small. It's a 3-inch blade. But I guess you just don't really understand how the size of a knife until you actually have it in your hand. But the grip, you know, I can get my entire hand, all 4 fingers on the grip. Thank goodness, you know. Blade is 3 inches long, and it's just a really small, compact knife that you know, I was just a little surprised at the size of it. I guess I have a couple of knives sitting here on my workbench just to give you kind of a size comparison. But here's a pair of two, excuse me. Just to give you kind of a size comparison. If we line up the blades, the para is a bigger knife, by a decent amount, the other knife that I have sitting here is here's the Benchmade Freak, Super Freak. And, you can see that the Super Freak is a considerably larger knife. This is a large EDC folder. So, you can kind of see that it's a small knife. And I think, Quiet Carry, when it comes to size, I think all their knives are to where you're like, holy crap, that's kind of a small knife. And this will be no exception to that. It's machined really well. All of the edges are knocked down. There's no sharp edges on this on this knife anywhere. The handle is nice and chamfered, and there's no rough edges. Even the jimping is it's grabby. It definitely grabs your thumb for sure. You can feel it, but it's not uncomfortable. It's not poking a hole in me or anything of that nature. So overall, I really like this knife, and I would recommend it. Let's see some of the other dimensions real quick. I forgot to mention. Let's see here. 3-inch blade. Overall length is just let's see. I think it's just over 7 inches. Yeah. So it's like 7 and a quarter, something like that. Looks about 7 and a quarter. I already told you the grind, full flat grind. This is G10. I don't know if I mentioned that. The handle material is G10. It's got a texture to it. It's definitely not complete smooth, but it's not as grippy as, say, like the Spyderco paramilitary and the like. It's a little bit smoother, all the edges knocked off kind of thing. Blade thickness is 0.12. So, it's got a really, good stock. I mean, it's a strong knife. If you decided you wanted this knife for something other than what I'm using it for, it's still a pretty stout knife. It, 0.12 blade thickness. And then you got plenty of height to get down to a real thin edge. I guess that's where this knife really shines, is it's really thin behind the edge. I like it quite a bit. I guess that's about all I can say about it. I would recommend it. I would buy it again. As a matter of fact, I think I would like to have another one of these. As soon as the satin one comes back into stock, I think I will purchase the satin version. Oh, here's the hidden lanyard hole for those of you that like, that are into lanyards. You'd have to feed it through there. That looks like something that would take an act of Congress or whatever, but you could get a lanyard in there. So yeah, pretty sweet kitchen knife that I do think I'll buy another one of. Oh, the hardware here is titanium, all of the hardware, so you're not going to have any rusting issues with the hardware. If you have any questions about the knife, here's the blade taper. Some of you guys like to see that, how it tapers towards the tip. Tip is pretty stout. This knife has tons of belly. I mean, it's got a lot of belly on it. So really comfortable. You can pinch it like this. You can even come up on the knife like that. It's another, you can do draw cuts like this. It's really comfortable and in every way that you could grip this knife. You could grip it like this and be real comfortable, do some fine cutting, some utility cutting, down like this. So this would make a good, those of you out there that like to carry a fixed blade for EDC, this knife weighs 4 ounces, So it's like the weight of a, of a reasonable size folder. So those of you that like to carry a fixed blade EDC, you might want to consider this one. This one would make a pretty good EDC. And, LC200N, you don't have to worry about, staining it or it's being, you can really abuse LC200N, and it's pretty tough stuff. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments of that knife right there, and we'll bring you some more in the future. On that end.